Welcome back to Wellness Lenses. Are you ready to learn more about a fascinating subject that touches a lot of people? Today, we're going to talk about anxiety. We're going to look at the different kinds of anxiety and find out what they really feel like. From times when your heart races to moments when you feel like you can't breathe. It's time to look beyond the surface and learn more about this interesting but often misunderstood phenomenon. So let's dive in. Our journey starts with GAD, which stands for Generalized Anxiety Disorder. Imagine that worry is always building up inside you, and that thunderous thoughts are always going through your head. People with GAD have to deal with this every day. They worry too much all the time, and it affects many different parts of their lives. It's like having a weight that you can't see. You're always on edge and never know when the next wave of anxiety will hit. But how exactly does it feel? Imagine being stuck in a maze of what-if scenarios. Your mind is full of terrible things that could happen. You get a knot in your stomach, your muscles tense up, and a feeling of unease fills your mind. This constant anxiety can be mentally and physically tiring, taking away a person's energy and making it hard for them to find comfort. Yet, despite all the trouble, people with GAD show a lot of strength and resolve. They face their fears straight on, even when the world seems too much. As someone close to them, you need to understand what GAD is in order to help. Giving them a sympathetic ear, being there to calm them, and gently reminding them of their inner strength can make a huge difference in their ability to deal with anxiety. When we talk about anxiety, it's important to remember that GAD is just one part of the picture. Stay with me as I explain more kinds of anxiety and go deeper into each one. Now let's talk about a different kind of anxiety, social anxiety disorder. We've all had butterflies in our stomachs before going to a party or meeting new people. But for people with social anxiety, these butterflies can turn into a full-blown storm that wrecks their mental health. Imagine walking into a room full of people and feeling like you're going to be judged or made fun of. Every word and action is closely watched, which makes people feel more self-conscious than ever before. It's like an unseen light is shining on them, making them feel worse and making them doubt themselves even more. Having social contacts becomes a minefield of anxiety that makes your heart beat faster, your palms sweat, and your mind race. Empathy is key here. People with social anxiety disorder are very strong as they try to get through these hard times. They often set out on a brave journey of gradual exposure, pushing themselves to face their fears one step at a time. Your understanding, patience, and love can be strong pillars of support for them when they are feeling weak. We can help people with this condition thrive and break free from social anxiety by showing understanding, accepting them, and making the environment safe and welcoming for everyone. So, let's keep learning about anxiety as we discover another part of this complicated picture. In the world of anxiety, there is something called panic disorder that comes on quickly and hard. Imagine being on the edge of a cliff when, out of nowhere, a strong gust of wind threatens to knock you off your feet. During a panic episode, this is how people with panic disorder feel. Their fear is so strong that it takes over their whole body. During these episodes, their hearts beat so fast that it seems like they are trying to get them out of their bodies. They also breathe quickly and shallowly, and they feel like they are about to die. It feels like the world around them is falling apart, trapping them in a whirling tornado of fear. Physical symptoms and mental pain are both present, making it a very scary time. The fear of having another panic attack can be just as crippling for people with panic disorder. They may worry all the time about when the next panic attack will happen, which often makes them try to avoid social situations. Every day, things that seem harmless to other people can cause them a lot of anxiety. But even in the middle of all this chaos, people with panic disorder show a lot of strength. They find courage they never knew they had to face their fears, and they refuse to let anxiety run their lives. As a valued friend, your understanding can help give them hope when things are the hardest. Being a calming presence, telling them that they are not alone, and pushing them to get professional help can make a huge difference. As we keep talking about anxiety, let's talk about obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. Imagine having thoughts that keep coming back to you over and over again, along with a strong urge to do certain things or routines to stop the pain. This is a person with OCD's world. OCD shows up in different ways, but its core is made up of obsessions and compulsions. Obsessions are unwanted, intrusive thoughts, images, or urges that cause a lot of stress, and compulsions are repeated behaviors or thoughts that are done to stop the stress that obsessions cause. The circle of obsessions and compulsions can take over a person's life and make it hard to get along with people. The anxiety that comes from obsessions can be too much for someone with OCD to handle. They might have obsessive thoughts about germs, fear that they or their loved ones will get hurt, or a strong need for balance and order. To deal with these upsetting thoughts, they do things like cleaning, checking, or counting over and over again. It's important to understand that people with OCD are not just quirky or too careful. Genuine mental health issues like OCD call for understanding and assistance. Their routines are not something they do because they want to, but because they help them feel less anxious. We can help them get through the complicated web of OCD by showing them compassion, not judging them, and pushing them to get professional help. By accepting people with OCD and being ready to learn about what they've been through, we can create a safe, non-judgmental environment that gives them the help they need to deal with their symptoms and live full lives. And with that, my friends, we've reached the end of our trip through the many different kinds of anxiety. We looked into generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and obsessive compulsive disorder, and learned a lot about how people with anxiety feel. By learning more, we can be more understanding, break down the barriers of stigma, and help people who are going through the complicated road of anxiety. Let's be there for our friends, family, and loved ones, giving them a listening ear, a calming presence, and a reminder that they are not alone. If you thought this video was interesting and helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Your help raises awareness and changes the lives of people for the better. Also, I'd love it if you joined our community by subscribing to our channel if you haven't already. We'll be posting more interesting content that explores topics that matter to us and helps people understand and care about each other. Thank you for taking part in this educational trip. Remember that we can make a change if we work together. Have a good day, and we'll see you soon.